Well, I think that a lot of the like exciting stuff for the last 2 years from like a government perspective is like everybody wants to make their own large language model. And I think that's
That's
kind of a
right.
waste of time. It's like Pepsi to Pepsi to Pepsi to Coke to Pepsi. It's expensive and like say us, we use OpenAI APIs because like they've gotten extremely cheap for ones that are like equivalent to these Chinese ones,
Mm,
which are also excellent. But they also have like they stay at the cutting edge and it's very easy to change between them. But like, say if I was to like, be, well, any country, I don't think I'd be able, I'm a Canadian. I'd love Canada to like go make like Canada LLM and like not be reliant on, American ones. Canada's trying to be independent right now, but I don't think we could do it because training well is really hard. Now you could take like a llama or something. You can get pretty close, but like I think like, who wants to be two steps behind, even if it's not that hard to get two steps behind when it's better to like the way I think of AI right now is like it's like the browser wars of the early 90s where it was like everybody there was like Netscape versus Internet Explorer and it was like really like this big war. But then it wasn't even that important because it's really about what websites were built on top of it, right? And now browsers aren't that valuable of a thing. Like say Netscape was like the biggest IPO of like all time when it came out. And I think it's gonna be similar where like everybody's like, like the browsers are like the large language models and like everybody's like, oh, gotta have one, gotta have one, gotta have one. When really it's about what do you do with that? And they're kind of like getting good enough where it's kind of apples to oranges. Like I often pass data between Anthropic's Claude, ChatGPT, different models, Mistral, DeepSeek, V1 and R1, Gemini, just kind of like, mess around with them, train them, have fun with it. It's like an activity. And they're like not that different, right? So I wouldn't focus for governments on creating their own. Rather, I'd be like focusing on probably like the accelerator ecosystem of startups that can like build something useful. What's cool is that it used to be like say like YouTube, like YouTube's like a nightmare. It uses so much bandwidth, right? But like say for people who are bandwidth conscious, like people should be aware that like AI uses very little bandwidth because at the end of the day, like all the hard work happens on servers um, in the cloud, and all you get is text, right? So like
right.
it's something that can be very useful for people with low internet or like bad internet or trying to have like affordable internet. And then I think that like, well, people should start to be trained on how to make good use of AI. So one of the things I'm noticing is a lot of people are just like trying to be using the AI to do their job for them as like easily as possible. So like, hey, AI, make like a blog post on like, like the history of Ghana. And it'll do a good job, right? But like where things are going to get really good is not where you're like having the AI do the job, but rather you're more entwined together, right? So like, you can go,
Right.
hey, AI, I want to do a article on the history of Ghana. What questions would you ask me? And it'll give you a list of questions like context, what are you trying to do? Then you can feed it to it, it'll come back. But I think like the key things are that if some people are trying to pass off their critical thinking to AI. But then, like, really, why do you need the human in the boat at all? And the AI is going to give a lousy job, right? So
Right.
rather, it's like, people need to actually be smarter than ever before. They need to be having their top level critical thinking. They need to be elastic in ability to think differently so that they're not just like letting the AI kind of like just like regurgitate, but they're like pushing it somewhere. Um, I think that the skill for what it takes to build AI too is extraordinarily easy. So there's no reason like this is a better opportunity than any time for all these ambitious African entrepreneurs to actually go out, not just make something that affects their local ecosystem, but something that's like transborder in its ambition. Um, like in the stack we use, Flutterflow based, like you can like literally just like take your API key to Claude, Gemini, or OpenAI, throw it in, and you suddenly just have like, agents you can put into your app. The challenge, I think, with AI right now, from a commercialization and productization perspective, is that we haven't done a good job of translating this technology breakthrough into products users love. More people I feel talk about artificial intelligence than use artificial intelligence. And many of the ways it's being used is just like casual ChatGPT for like fast work or homework or blogs or whatever, right? And it can do a lot more than that. So we just need to actually think of like what. And from a technology level, it's kind of like early days of the internet. It's like Twitter. Like if you know how to build tech, you can make like Twitter in 20 minutes, but the idea is kind of done already. What we're at right now is that there's all these like giant big companies that were pre-AI, and everybody's trying to be in AI. So just everybody's like throwing AI buttons everywhere, but it's kind of mindless and thoughtless. Um, or it's like these big companies who are just like trying to like do all they can